Welcome back to Reporting from USA. Today, we are search and write an article about very important news. A recent Republican drawn poll has given Trump the worst nightmare of his life. Please keep watching because this information will brighten your day. Before we continue, kindly spend a few of your precious seconds clicking the subscribe button below and turning on the notification bell to get the most recent information from us. According to Donald Trump, the fact that he keeps being charged by investigators is a support for his effort to be reappointed. He claimed at a dinner not long after he was accused by the Equity Division with attempting to influence the 2020 political decision that whenever they document a prosecution, we rise significantly in the polls. This peculiar instance is vague all throughout, but upon closer inspection, it may not be obviously deceptive. The Equity Division, the Manhattan Lead Prosecutor's Office, and most recently the Fulton Province Head Prosecutor's Office in Georgia have all brought 4 separate arraignments against Trump and his associates, one among many dubious allegations. A new Politico magazine Ipsos study reveals some bad news. In fact, the ongoing prosecutions are likely to have a severe impact on his chances of winning the general political election, even though he continues to be the undisputed leader of the conservative choice. The review's findings suggest that Americans are taking the cases seriously, particularly the Equity Division's 2020 political decision case, and that many people are concerned that Trump's case will become the victim of an elaborate multi-jurisdictional witch hunt or an effort to weaponize policing against him. When compared to a previous Politico magazine Ipsos survey conducted in June, public opinion is shifting against the outgoing president in many areas, including how quickly to convene a trial and whether to imprison Trump if he is sentenced. This most recent poll was conducted between August 18 and August 21, more than 14 days after Trump's second court appearance, and a few days after he was charged with a crime in the Fulton district. The study included 1032 adults who were examined online and were at least 18 years old as an example. It allows for 3.2 rate focus errors, give or take, for all respondents. These are perhaps the most important findings from our most recent assessment, and most Americans agree that Trump should be the presumptive nominee for president in 2024, in a high-stakes dispute that might have an emotional impact on the 2024 election. Trump's legal representatives will square off against government examiners before us, local judge Tanya Chutkin, on Monday on whether to schedule his preliminary in the Equity Division's 2020 political race lawsuit. The investigation should begin on January 2, 2024, according to government investigators. However, Trump's legal advisors argue that it should begin in April 2026. In the event that Trump receives everything he could ask for, he may still have a good chance to complete his bid for re-election and, if successful, end the investigation after retaking the White House. The Equity Office's problem is much more familiar to Americans than Best's. According to 59 of survey participants, the government preliminary in Trump's 2020 lawsuit involving the disruption of political decision-making should be completed before the 2024 conservative primaries officially begin 1 year from now. A little bigger according to 61 of all respondents. The preliminary should take place before the final political choice is made in November. Liberals and conservatives experienced the anticipated sectarian divide, with about 90 of majority rule respondents requesting an early preliminary date and roughly 33 of conservative respondents agreeing. In any event, the reaction of freethinkers may have been generally unlucky for Trump, nearly 66, a result that suggests particular interest in and awareness of a case that successfully argues that Trump attempted to seize the last political decision via a hard examination is that 60. 3 of freethinkers indicated that Trump ought to stand trial before next November, while posing in a similar survey conducted in June. In the wake of Trump's Florida Equity Division prosecution for maintaining grouped records, 48 of free respondents indicated that the preliminary should, on balance, take place before the next new. Most Americans agree that Trump is accountable for the upcoming charges, the allegations against Best, and his supporters that he is the victim of a witch hunt also seem to be influencing opinions of Americans in general, including a majority of leftists and roughly 50s of free thinkers, except that Trump is legitimately to blame for the string of accusations among the 4 upcoming cases. Compared to other arraignments, the Manhattan lead prosecutor's indictment produced somewhat weaker results, with a total of only 48 of respondents admitting they believe Trump is at fault. All things considered, which concerns alleged covert cash payments to the porn star Stormy Daniels, benefiting our energized nation, revealed larger portions said that they accept Trump is responsible in various cases, 50, 1 in the upcoming equity office and Fulton province arraignments regarding the 2020 political race, and 52 in the equity division's planned reports. A case 3 a conviction in the 2020 political decision case brought by Dodge would harm Trump's chances in the general election. Our most recent study also makes clear that it would be meaningless for Trump's official campaign to make the final political decision while he is pleading with Americans to send him back to the White House, supposing he is convicted of a criminal offense. 44 of those polled claimed that their likelihood of supporting Trump would not change if they were found guilty in the case. But among those who thought the result would clarify their decision, the odds clearly tipped against Trump. A conviction, for the circumstances, would make over 33 of respondents, 32s, less likely to support Trump, including almost 33s of free movers, only 13th all, so that a conviction would compel them to support Trump. And that percentage would compel them to support Trump, and that percentage was disproportionately made up of conservative. For despite the apparent tidal stream of information, there remains a lot of room for Trump's statistics to worsen, including Trump's legal concerns. The alleged transgressions of the former president are still being made known to a sizable portion of the general public. Most respondents indicated that they understand the charges in the upcoming cases, either very well, indeed, or rather well, with the government arraignments receiving the highest percentages, more than 60s, of these responses. However, between a quarter and 33 of respondents claimed to not understand the charges in the case as well. This could change as the prosecution of the cases proceeds, and in particular, if at least one case proceeds to the preliminary stage before next November. However, it is reasonable to assume that the media's involvement and any realities discovered at the preliminary stage would, overall, be of minimal political significance at best. Criminal litigants typically don't emerge as more appealing towards the end of deeply advanced preliminaries, regardless of whether they get off at the end of the day, regardless of if he works out how to avoid convictions. Trump and his legal advisors still don't seem to be able to provide it, even if there are significant defenses to the accusations that can be verified. For instance, following the most recent case in the Fulton district, Trump boldly declared that he would host a Quetdia session and present a report in which he would defend himself. Eventually, the inquisitive Americans were left hanging. Trump cancelled the news conference 5 days after making his announcement. A significant portion of the country agrees that Trump should be punched to prison. We also asked respondents in the DOJ case from January 6 what the appropriate punishment should be. However, 50 of respondents indicated that Trump should go to prison if found guilty in the Equity Division's 2020 political decision case, with 87 of lefties and 50 wines of free thinkers supporting this view. There was still a sizable number of responses available for elective approvals. 16 of respondents believed that Trump should receive probation rather than incarceration when he was convicted, and 12 believed that he should unquestionably receive a financial penalty. Generally, just 18 was confined. Conservatives argued that there shouldn't be any penalties notwithstanding a conviction. The findings suggested that Americans would view Trump's leadership, including the commotion of January 6 and his efforts to sway the election outcome, as more severe than those in the lawbreaker arguments that have lately been documented against him. Just 43 of respondents indicated that Trump should go to jail, assuming a sentence in the equity division's ordered archives case, while 40 said that Trump should go to jail, assuming a sentence in the Manhattan head prosecutor's case at the time we gave similar questions to respondents in June. Trump and the GOP's weaponization precaution appears to be on shaky ground with regard to the installments of the Stormits of the Stormy Daniels 6 by all indications. Trump and his right allies have ensured that President Joe Biden and Principal Legal Officer Merrick Festoon would use the equity division as a weapon against him. We asked a series of questions to try and understand how Americans felt about this situation. For Group Trump, the results were thoroughly merged. In a paradoxical way, the equity division appears to have gained some ground overall. However, only a small percentage of respondents provided an idealness rating for the equity division that was net positive, with 40 good and 33. Smith's lead had a net positive idealness rating of 6, with 26 being fantastic and 20 being problematic. I appreciate you coming. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel and let us know what you think in the comments area. I'm a